Welcome to Stories with Steve, a podcast on the Central Buna Podcast Network. Every Thursday in 5 minutes or less, we'll lift you up with stories of how God works behind the scenes in our lives. Romans 8:28 tells us that God works all things together for the good of those who are called according to his purpose. Now with an encouraging story, here's Steve.
Hey, thanks so much for joining me. You know, nothing I do or don't do cannot make God love me any more, any less. You know, I've always known that in my head, but I never really believed it with my heart. They say that the distance between the head and the heart is about 18 inches. Well, for me, it was kind of like the distance between the Grand Canyon. I remember when I visited the Grand Canyon and being there and just the awe of the vastness. It seemed like it never ended. You just look and you can't, as far as your eyes can see, there it is. And interesting, when I got to visit the Grand Canyon, it had snowed there and it was so beautiful. Of course, you have to be careful when you're taking pictures and all that because you get too close to the edge, especially if there's snow, you don't know where the end is. And unfortunately, some people have lost their lives doing that. But I thought about, when I looked at that, I thought about the scripture when Paul prayed in Ephesians 3, verses 18 and 19. He said that we might have the power as God's people to grasp how wide, how deep is the love of Christ and to know his love that surpasses knowledge. Wow, that is so good. I mean, it goes beyond knowledge. It's something we have to absolutely experience for our life. And, you know, it had to, just in my life, I felt like I had to just earn God's love. Even though I became a Christian, I still felt like there's more I had to do, just do a little bit more. Unfortunately, so many times in our lives, we compare relationships with God, relationships with people. There's people in our lives, and particularly just being a little bit vulnerable, somebody that had a relationship that I wanted, that I loved, that I wanted to love me back, and I kept buying more and more stuff. Well, maybe if I buy them this, they'll love me more. Maybe if I do this. And then one time, I finally come to realize, hey, they don't really love me. They love the gifts and stuff. And sometimes I feel like we project that on God. But you know what? God's love is not like that. It's not manipulative. It's genuine, and it's constant, no matter what we do. You know, there's a movie, and I always hate to mention movies because it means that I'm endorsing the movie, and it doesn't mean I endorse everything about the movie. Some people might find objectionable or blasphemous or whatever, but there was a movie where Morgan Freeman played God, and the other character, Evan, he's questioning his plan for his life. And one thing that really spoke to me, Morgan Freeman said, Scott, he said, everything I do because I love you. And that just really spoke to me because God's love is pure love. There's no agenda. And so when I got to the point in my life when I come to realize that, actually, when I really understood the cross, I knew Jesus died for my sins. I knew that. But I still felt like I had to do a little bit more. I felt guilty, like I just had to do something to impress God. And actually, I came to the point where I realized not only did he die for my sins, he knew, all my mistakes and failures, and he would reconcile it all in his good timing and goodwill. And that kind of just freed me up. It was kind of like the cross bridge, the chasm of the Great Canyon of doubt in my life. And I don't know about you, maybe you've had a similar experience in your life where you just came to that point where you realized that there was nothing you could do to make God love you anymore. It's such a freeing experience. I'd love for you to drop me a line. I love testimonies. Testimonies are kind of my love language. So thanks so much for joining me today. And always remember, you've got a story to tell.